there. So today I have a little rant that I have been building up for a bit, and so I'm actually quite excited to do it because I think it's one of these ones that will, when I watch it again, benefit me. When I'm talking about it now, will benefit me, and I know that it will definitely help some other people who are finding themselves in a similar mindset, which is essentially one of where you are subtly limiting yourself, just practically in your life, but then overall in terms of your approach and your approach to and understanding of your imagination and of these certain teachings. Um, so, firstly, if you haven't identified yet a lot of the ways you are doing this in mind, start paying more attention to your thoughts so that you notice them and then correct them, and then always remind yourself that those are just temporary beliefs that you have in place right now. So when I'm talking about here this idea of the journey, what I'm primarily referencing is people who are having long and painful unfoldings very much unnecessarily. So that journey itself is often masochistic, and praising it is also masochistic. And why do people do that? Well, because they have to justify the suffering. Because otherwise, to accept that you didn't need to do that and you did it to yourself and you were just abusing yourself is often too painful. And there's a lot of things like that where, we can't. It's really difficult to accept that we did that to ourselves. So it's easier just to excuse it or deny it in the incorrect way and hope that it will magically mend itself. But acknowledging that you are doing that with some of your unfoldings is very important. Um, so I want to be clear that I'm not poo pooing, I'm not in any way upbraiding people who find value and use in an iterative creative process. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say you want to design an object. Well, that object is already finished, it's already been created. You're just revealing it to yourself, but that for you might include a lot of steps. You might, if you're inventing something, you might come up with 50 or 100 prototypes before you finally are at the one that is really works and could be sold and used by other people. Um, I'm not saying that that's necessarily masochistic, though it certainly can be. I'm mostly looking at, well, are you going through an unfolding that is really unnecessarily long for you, that you don't enjoy? And you're just saying, oh, well, it's all about the journey. And it's like, no, that's bullshit. It's not about the journey. It's never about the fucking journey. It is about the destination. It is about what you want. It is about stepping into the version of you that already has what they desire instead of putting yourself through a bunch of unnecessary crap in order to feel like you earned it. And in one of my weeks where I was kind of skipping streams, I delivered the same message, which is, you know, you've done enough, you're worthy enough, you're deserving enough, you're ready enough right now to have anything you want, to experience anything you want. And it's not just in terms of exterior physical actions. I mean, you don't need to imagine anymore. You don't need to script anymore. You don't need to, whatever techniques you use. You don't need to firm anymore. Whatever those are, you don't need to do any more of that. There's not some magical meditation you're going to find tonight or tomorrow that's going to finally make it happen. You need to accept right now that it's already done, that you already are this person, that you're allowed to receive it. You're allowed to feel happy about already having it, even if there is zero evidence, no unfolding happening, and none of the results you want right now. You're allowed to say, okay, I ignore all of that and I acknowledge that I do right now presently have what I want. And that is the foundation of all of Neville's teachings as regarding the law of assumption. That's all you're ever doing, is claiming that what you want is already done, that who you want to be, you already are. Instead of, okay, I need to do I need to, do a scene. I need to affirm for it a million times. And then looking to exterior world actions, it's like, well, I need to set up this company. I need to get a bunch of customers. I need to make the products to sell. Or in terms of a relationship, it's like, oh, well, we need to, talk about some things. And, he or she needs to go on a couple more dates with me. They need to propose, or um, if there's some other type of relationship that you want to build up or repair, you might think, okay, well, they need to do this in order to show that they love me, blah blah blah. No, 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 no. Just screw all of that and accept that you're already in your end state. You already can see yourself in the way you want to see yourself right now. Um, putting yourself through all these extra homework steps, all this extra labor and effort is antithetical to your true self, who is infinite power, intelligence, presence, and eternal. So, really, doing all of that stuff, doing the 5 meditations a week and a million affirmations a day, and doing the same scene all the time, all of that is a very subtle way of disempowering yourself, when all you need to do is make a singular decision and stick with it and say, no, I've made up my mind. I know that what I want is mine, and I know I will receive and express it in the exterior world in no time at all. So I wanted to go over what some of these subtle limits are that people will do, and there's it's me talking to me. These are ones that I have done. So really, this is the most common one: is working hard to earn the thing, thinking that, and this is like one that, at least in my experience of reality, is so prolific. People think you can't. They see a value in working hard, and they see that you cannot have anything you want unless you work hard to earn it. And we end up applying this, slacking on research, like, well, good, because guess what, dude? Whatever you're trying to do is already done. All of your all of the busy work you're giving yourself is unnecessary. And I think that's a difficult thing for a lot of people to acknowledge, understand, and recognize. It's already done for you. Creation is already finished. Um, so thinking that, well, I just haven't earned it yet. There's more I need to do. I'm not yet ready for this. I don't have the skills yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So all I need to put in the work to get there. And included and right in step with that is that, well, there's going to be a lot involved to get me to that end. There's a ton of steps that need to happen. It's going to take a while. As people especially do this with money when it comes to large purchases like homes, or things like a big career transition, or even a relationship when it comes to wanting to get married or have kids or something like that. You're assuming a ton of time and steps need to be involved in getting you there. And then this one is a lot about career, especially for someone who wants to get started in, or move into a sort of adjacent industry or a totally different industry, and thinks, well, I don't have the skill set or the connections right now in place that would get me anywhere near what my desired end is on this thing. Um, so the first three are really, they're all very similar. It's all a similar body of thoughts, and you can apply these. You might be applying these to various different areas of your life. That they're subtle, they're sneaky. This next one is to my experience almost more of a feeling than it is a body of thoughts, just because it's been with me so long. And it starts, I notice, when you're young, when you're a child, and people start asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it creates this mythical future, this mythical when I'm an adult, or someday, um, in the future when all is well, as Morrissey sings it. And this future never comes. This future never happens. It creates this point in time that's separate from you, that's abstracted, that's distant, and it seems like you're always trying to move towards it but never getting there. Um, because the future just never happens. This mythical future that you've created, you never identify with it. You always see it as happening to a future version of you, and you can keep pushing it forward indefinitely. And then this one is something that I see a lot with manifestors, but also people who are conscious, but also um, anybody can be doing this. So you might just say, well, I've been able to manifest this, this, and this. Like I've been able to nail down, my body, my money, my business, but I'm just not good at relationships. Or it might be like, it could even be replied to intellectual pursuits, like I'm just not good at math. And it could even apply even more detail to specific manifesting techniques, like catching yourself saying, well, I'm just not good at visualizing. It's like, okay, all right, okay, keep thinking that. And so here are some of our common limits that people impose. Um, Now, you have to pick out and pay attention to your thoughts to see how you're doing them and how you're putting these limits on you. But once you start to notice them, you will see that they're affecting multiple areas of your life. The thoughts just might be a little different. And so I've also provided some of these solution thoughts for us, and I might have to jump back and forth a little bit so we can see which ones that these reference to. So when it comes to always needing to do more work, always needing more skills, and needing some sort of connections or something. There's more to do. There's more you need to do in order to get there. Well, you have to understand the way that we are telling ourselves reality is actually set up. The creation is finished. Everything's already been made, um, including versions of you. So you're never becoming, you're never iterating, you're never really iterating, you're never really progressing or advancing. You're always just stepping into something that already exists. You're never creating something new, you're just moving into a different state of consciousness. Um, there's no labor that needs to occur except the labor that you forcibly impose upon yourself. And then, very related to this, and this goes hand in hand with the, oh, well, I'm just not good at da 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 da. Um, and thinking that, well, I don't have the skill set I need to do this thing I want to do. Or in the past, any kind of thought that starts off with, in the past, I experienced blah, and it has your little limit put in there. You always need to remind yourself that your past and present circumstances, the things that happen to you, uh, don't define or dictate your infinite potential. They don't impose a never-ending limit on your infinite potential. You've only put that in place mentally, and all you need to do to dissolve it is start thinking a different thought about it. So if you think, well, gee, I've just never been good at cooking, you could simply start thinking, oh, I mean, it's a very simple transition. I'm learning a lot about cooking. I'm getting better at cooking. My cooking is improving. If you can't immediately step into, I'm a great world class chef, though you could if you only allowed yourself, you could at least start to think, well, I'm a better cook than I was 2 months ago, or I'm a better cook than I was last year. Very simple movement into this positive direction. Um, Now, and the next one. So it's going to take a long time. There's going to be a lot of steps. And Neville answered this one too in the Q&A coming up. And he said simply to assume it now. And that's also very much related to our time one. So it's a great reminder for you to know that infinite intelligence within you knows the unfolding and knows the fastest and best unfolding for you based on your current body of beliefs. Now, if you are finding that those have a lot of unnecessary suffering in them, you can adjust those beliefs and have the unfolding adjust in response. It's part of this dwelling on delays and blocks that is creating a lot of that. As you move out of that focus on your delays, your blocks, your obstacles, they will tumble away. And as you remain, in touch with the focus of your success, those things just naturally crowd out. So you don't have to know all of these different steps that you're going to impose upon yourself. The deeper one within you already knows the movement you have to go through based on your current state to bring you there. But you can always shorten that path. And similarly, when it comes to any connections you might need, especially for business or making some larger purchase like real estate or improving your health, infinite intelligence in you knows the perfect person to put you in touch with. Not only that, they know how it knows he, it, they, she, whatever, however you want to define God, knows how to unfold that in the perfect way for both of y'all. And very related to this, when it comes to your potential, don't allow yourself to think that, well, because I'm green, I'm new at this, I'm unskilled or something, even catastrophizing like I'm a nobody. There are these 200 people who could really help me, but none of them would even take lunch with me type of deal. You have to realize that all of those people who do have already manifested out this career success, undoubtedly, if not all of them, 199 out of 200 of them are really especially skilled and talented at recognizing potential in other people. Don't think that they don't remember what it was like to be starting out. And don't think that they won't immediately identify that in you, that you don't possess a natural talent that they don't pick up on right away. So, yeah, it's very important to embrace your own potential so that you can, better imagine for yourself, but also, don't think that other people won't see that too. They do. They absolutely, the more you feel that true for yourself, it's automatically reflected in how other people view you. So if you don't put importance on your lack of experience or impressive things to put on a resume right now or impressive body of work to point to, if you don't give that emphasis and importance, that other person won't either. They will only see your potential. And they will encounter you in a way in which they're interested in nurturing that. They're interested in seeing you move into that full potential. The deeper one within you knows that. It knows the person who right now wants a protege and knows how to get you to meet them in a way where it'll work out totally perfectly. So you just have to develop that trust in yourself. Now, when it comes to time, when it comes to this mythical perpetual someday that never occurs to us, Neville's advice always is, when it comes to an imaginal act, to make it be happening now. So whatever is happening is not happening 2 years from now. 2 years from now is now. If it's happening Sunday and today is Tuesday, in your imaginal act, it is Sunday. It's the same with time as it is with space. If you're imagining yourself in New York while you're in California, when you are doing the imaginal act, you are no longer in California, you are in New York. So if you're in California and you're in California on a Tuesday, and you're imagining that you're going to do something that Sunday in New York, in your imaginal act, in that moment when you are imagining, whether it's daydreaming or you're in your bed with all the lights out, or you're taking a walk, or however you're doing it, however is comfortable for you, or even as it applies to your affirmations, if you're someone who likes to affirm or script, in the imaginal act, it is now Sunday, and you are in New York. You are not in California on a Tuesday pretending it's a Sunday in New York. No, it is Sunday. You are in New York. It applies the same with time. It is happening now. The future never happens. We never experience the future. We only ever experience now. So it only makes sense that your imaginal acts are always set now. They always take place now. This is always happening now. This is one of the real crucial components, so you might say a secret, to how you identify with a state, because you claim it's happening now. This mythical future is a way we keep ourselves from identifying with our ideals, because if it's happening to future me, it's not really happening to me. But if it's happening now, it's happening to me. Okay, so this is a very, very, very crucial component. And the more you adjust your imaginal scenes to make them now here, to put yourself in those places, to put yourself in that space, the more that will connect, and you will find yourself identifying with greater and greater experiences for yourself. And then the other one, the last one I mentioned was, well, I'm not good at this one thing, or I'm not good at these five things, whatever. Or just simply thinking that this thing you want to do is impossible. Or, well, next to nobody does it, or nobody does it. It's not even possible. Well, Neville says innumerable times, I know of no limit to the power of God. There is zero limit to what God can accomplish. God is equivalent to your imagination. If you can imagine it right now, that means it's already created. It's already been conceived. It already exists. You simply step into it and identify with it. And I do believe more and more that this also applies to things that we would deem fantastical. It's only by our current body of beliefs that we have kept things from being, possible in our exterior reality. But as those limits fall away, these things become more and more part of our typical experience, in ways that prior to waking up to being the second man, you would not think is possible. But yeah, so these were the ones that I thought of. You might find some that are more personal to you, that you want to address. I just find, with a lot of people who know about Neville or otherwise have been introduced to the law of assumption, who maybe don't know the source material, there are a lot of sort of manifestors traps that people fall into, where they're making up a lot of rules for themselves that don't enable them to really experience what they want to experience as quickly and as easily as possible. Like, they're putting themselves through a lot more mental nonsense than they need to. Just like meditating every day and having to do a million affirmations a day, and yet never knowing when those affirmations are going to work for you. Having to let go, meaning totally stop thinking about something that you've been obsessively thinking about. I mean, there are so many of these crazy rules that people make up, these limitations and rules they impose upon themselves. If you look through my YouTube videos and you want a little more help with this, it's not advice, it's more just encouragement. In one of the ones that's like for if you're new to the law, I think there's one that's like, if you're new to the law, here's everything you need to know. It might be in the VODs right now. There's also the one about the heuristic to get anything you want. And the heuristic is simply, what is your best manifesting technique? Have you used it towards what you want? If you have, okay, great. So it's time to accept that it's done. If you haven't, well, apply it. And that's simply the heuristic. But this is more like, you've applied a million techniques to this thing and it still isn't showing up, and you're putting yourself through a bunch of bullshit. Well, in that case, don't praise the journey. There's nothing to praise about you keeping yourself separate from your desire. You're literally failing. You're living in sin. You need to let go of that, and you need to stop masochistically praising your own sin right there. Which, by the way, if nobody knows, sin in the Neville sense means not having what you want. Wanting something and not having it, or wanting something, knowing what to do in order to get it, which is to imagine for it, and simply not imagining for it, whether it's for you or someone else. So wanting something and not having it, knowing what you want and how to get it, but not moving mentally in order to get it. So putting yourself through a super long and unnecessary unfolding is just sinful masochism. And hey, look, if you enjoy that, if you want to do that, great. But I am judging you, and I am saying that that's a bunch of foolishness. All right, I'm going to take a quick little break, and I'm going to come back, and we're going to do, it's about the first half of the first lesson of 5 lessons.